the Slattery family call, by the way. And my son and daughter, who are in Colorado, just left. They heard the whistle and they went, which really, excuse my French, really pisses them off. Is that at age 37 it still works. And he's a fighter pilot. And when I whistle, he looks amazing. So anyway, I will repeat this in an hour. So if I'm still talking in an hour, you just I might be. But thank you for coming. This is our accessible, sustainable home that we were able to build after a very serious crash in our family. I grew up with a sister with cerebral palsy, and my parents never let our CP keep us from doing anything. And so I had great training from my mom and dad on how to deal with a situation like this. And in spite of that great training, I didn't always do it with very much grace, but we've done it. I also am very aware that our crash was caused by somebody else who had a lot of insurance and was very, very, very clearly at fault. And I can give Matthew whatever he needs. Not whatever he wants. He just smirked, so. But whatever he needs. I also know from my parents that, to whom much is given, much is expected. And I know that so many families, friends of ours, as we were growing up, and people I've met at Kennedy Krieger, and I meet all over the place, are not as lucky as we are, in spite of how unlucky we were. So, we started FANN, which actually came from my architects, who are wandering around here. It stands for Finding a New Normal, and that's what they named this project. And that's what you do. And we all, none of us get out of this life unscathed. We all have crises, and some are objectively worse than ours, and some or others are not as objectively bad. But they're all bad. They're yours, right? It's your crisis, and it's meaningful, and it's difficult. So our objective in FANN, our short-term, hands-on, getting something done, is to make homes accessible for families with disabled children. And that's not grab bars and ramps. That's sort of the Old Testament, thou shalt not kill standard. The love your neighbor standard is accessible sinks. It's accessible playrooms. It's accessible bathrooms. It's getting the ramp and getting you into the house. You're now dry and warm, and that's critical. And that's absolutely critical. But beyond that, we want to see children develop as much as they possibly can. And when we moved into this house, Matthew was still recovering cognitively and physically, and his recovery just accelerated. I didn't know if he could do dishes because he couldn't get to a sink. Now he can get to a sink, so guess what? But you know what? He likes to do dishes. He wants to be active. He wants to be doing things. He wants to garden. He wants to tell me how much he loves me 16 times a day, right, Munch? And he wants as much independence as he can possibly get. And so he can control this house with his iPad. He cannot control the temperature in my room, however, because he would turn it up to 110. So we don't give teenagers that kind of leeway. But he can control the music, the TV, the lights, fans, and the things that he needs to be able to control. There are 100 accessibility features in this house. I tried to note some of them for you. You are more than welcome, actually, to point out some of the mistakes. I can tell you one of them is do not put the grab bar behind the toilet seat so that the toilet seat hits the grab bar. And now you women don't care. But we men don't want to have to constantly be pushing that stupid toilet seat back up again because it's falling. Our super on this job, is absolutely amazing, talented man, and humble as can be. He actually took all the toilet seats and grab bars home. He put magnets and trapped them halfway in the middle of the grab bar, and then bore a hole and put a magnet in the toilet seat, and then epoxied over it. And so it's a magnet that holds them up now. The one in my bathroom's failing.
I'm not the super.
I think one of the magnets is either moved or losing its magnetism. So I wanted to do this tour and open this house up for just because it's an amazing house, and to share with people some of the things that you can do. But we've also combined it with a fundraiser because we are working on Sarah's house. My architects who are roaming around here, there's one of them, John, upstairs. That's John Sage. They have donated their services to design the Handy's house. And Paul is donating his services to do the contracting. We do have to pay. You see, I think that architects and contractors, they're wealthy. They can give stuff. But carpenters and plumbers and electricians and stuff like that, they can expect to get paid and should get paid. Paul needs to get paid too. He's just barely making it. But
Not only do you get paid, but we do need your help.
We do need your help. And so this is also a fundraiser. Nobody's going to watch and see who's putting money in the till and who isn't. But I will tell you, we'll know, because if you don't donate, you have to pick weeds. 30 minutes of weed picking, and we'll know who's kicking. You got to take them home with you, because I don't want them. So that's kind of the deal. No, nobody, I mean, if you can give $20, $5, 10,000, well, you know, the reality is we can raise billions of dollars to elect politicians, but we can't raise billions of dollars to take care of each other, and that to me is incredibly sad. And so I can promise you, whatever you donate to us, I have no influence. I can't help you in any way, shape, or form. Politicians can, but you should feel good about what you are able to give, and so we appreciate that. Dina, would you like to say something? Dina is Sarah, Hope, and Caitlin's mom.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So I was very excited. We just took a trip up the.
She got to take a ride up the tower. That was pretty cool. You know, this house is incredible. And like Ed said, when you're given that access to everything, it's amazing what you can do. You know, we want to give Sarah will give her the most independence possible, because she's very smart and she's very bright. Yes, I know you're going to agree with me. And she needs to be able to have access to this world. And when I met Ed, Sarah and Matthew were in a therapy program together, and we kind of just were seeing our kids in this therapy program have access to things that were helping them to grow and blossom. And then Ed was able to build this beautiful house, and he saw me one day. He said, "Did you ever get your house accessible for Sarah?" I'm like, "Well, you know, we had somebody come out and they told us how much it was going to be, and we were, you know, it's a little steep, so we have to kind of do what we can afford when we can afford it." And so it wasn't something that was really going to be, you know, near the horizon for us at any time. And he finally said, "You know, I'm going to find a way. We're going to find a way to make this happen for you." And, you know, here we are today. And, you know, we are incredibly humbled and completely overwhelmed by everything that Ed has done and everybody that the community is doing and opening up their hearts to us. And we just really appreciate what everybody's between for us and for Sarah.
Yeah. So, and it is a whole family thing. So here's the vision. Last October I went to a hackathon. I'd never been to a hackathon. And I went up and introduced myself to the executive director, and I said, my name's Ed Slattery, and we're going to do an abilities hackathon next spring. I had no idea what a hackathon was, but I was going to do it, and we did, and it was absolutely amazing, the things that these people invented. It was incredible. That's part of the vision. Part of the vision is to design products. Sarah's grandma, made some prototype skirts to put around a walker so that kids can express who they are. So that instead of me meeting a walker, I'm meeting Sarah, who's put a skirt around her wheelchair that tells us who she is. Like she's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and she lives here. We'll give you the Capitals because Baltimore doesn't have a competing team, so you're all right on that score. But I want kids to be able to tell us who they are. I want someone to say, "Wow, that is a cool wheelchair." Not he's in a wheelchair. So we're working on. I actually started a company called FANN Design, and we are actually starting to push some products out there, working on how to get these walker skirts generalized and out to the market. I'm an academic economist by training. I'm not a businessman. I have a zillion ideas, and I think they're often good ideas, but I need people to work with. So if any of you are business type people and want to help me think through how we take these ideas to the next step, I could use that help. But the big vision for FANN is that when a family has a crisis, and for us it happened in 2010, and our kids were young and were teenagers, and for Dina it happened when Sarah was 6 months old, and for some people it happens at birth. When you have a crisis, you don't know what the heck you're doing. You don't. I had 2 kids in critical condition. One of them might not have survived. And I'm supposed to navigate insurance, and I lost one of my salaries because my wife didn't survive. I then either work or don't work. My colleagues donated a year's worth of leave to me. I never went to work for a year, and I collected a full paycheck, and I had health insurance. I had everything. My community of Boy Scout families, and we have 90 kids in our troop, so there's a lot, and going back years and years. They sat with Matthew from 4 p.m. in the afternoon until 6 a.m. the next morning for 6 months in a row. Because I said to my friends, I cannot handle him waking up and not seeing somebody. And that's a hard thing to even imagine, is my baby waking up and not seeing somebody he knew. And that's all I said. I said it to the Scoutmaster, and it's like, bam, they got a thing on the internet, and people were signing up, and Matthew was never alone. Peter was never alone because he was either in school or I came and was with him. And that's valuable. How many communities do that for people like me? I didn't deserve it. They did it for Susan, I'm pretty sure. So the vision is that we're going to have volunteer financial planners, volunteer realtors, volunteer architects, volunteer contractors who are going to surround families like Dina when that crisis happens, and they're going to be there to help you. How do you send your other kids to college? How do you fix the house? How do you manage the Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid system? Oh my God, what a disaster that is. And so I would like someday for Kennedy Krieger actually to have a unit that truly surrounds families that are in crisis and helps them to get through how to use their resources more effectively. Because while all of us need to use our resources better, when you're in crisis, you really need to learn how to use them better. So that's the vision. Please, We also have lots of gardening stuff. We got grapes growing on the side of the house. We got herbs up on the roof. You can go pick some and take them home. We got fruit trees in the back, and Emma and Jason, who are my organic farmer advisors, they pick stuff and sell it to the restaurants and I don't know.
You want us to say something about that, Ed?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
But they will also be outside to point out what weeds you can eat.
Hi, I'm Jason, and
Emma.
we own Moon Valley Farm, and we've been working with Ed for I guess about 2 years now. We are young entrepreneurial farmers with a mission, which is to make a living while reimagining suburban land use. Ed heard Emma talking about this on the radio and thought it was a really great idea and contacted us and said he wanted an orchard in his backyard. And I think we said, orcharding's really hard, especially organically, and it's probably not going to really work right away. And Ed said, that's fine. Let's try some stuff anyway. And so, to back it up a step, what we do is grow food on suburban properties. So people's homes who trade us the use of their land in exchange for becoming a member of our CSA, which stands for Community Supported Agriculture. So as of this season, we're feeding about 100 families fresh produce on a weekly basis. We're also selling produce to over a dozen gourmet restaurants and now to 4 or 5 grocery stores and other retailers. Everything's grown organically. We pay what we think are fair salaries to the people that do the work for our farm. So as of this year, we're paying $10 an hour for people with no previous experience to do farm work. And it only happens because of people like Ed, because of people that are willing to try something different with their property. So what we've done here is helped Ed maintain his green roof garden, which is planted with high-value culinary herbs. We've also helped to create, what is it back there? It's like over a quarter acre. Let's say a quarter acre semi-natural ecosystem that provides several highly monetizable crops. So it's essentially a meadow. It's full of wildflowers. It's full of habitat for reptiles and pollinating insects and predatory insects and all kinds of creatures that don't find a lot of homes in the suburbs. But it's also full currently of 3 or 4 different crops that we receive great value for and that are highly prized by our commercial customers. So we come here and we help Ed with his various gardening projects, and in exchange, we extract value out of this as well. So it's still very early years, and it's going to change a lot back there, and it'll get bigger and better, and we'll finally get Ed some fruit trees. But I'm happy to take people around and show you what's going on with the gardening and landscaping here, and why it's so unique, and answer any questions you might have about that.
Check out the permeable driveway. 100% of my water stays on this property. So I am a supporter of the rain tax, although Margo Mello screwed it up. He didn't do it right at all. I taught the rain tax for 20 years, and he did not do it right. You should not have to pay the rain tax if you have a 50-year-old house. But if you build a new house, you should be able to get out of paying a rain tax if you do the right things. You don't have to pay the cigarette tax if you don't smoke. So if you use rain barrels and you do some other things, you should be able to do. That's the point. And he didn't do that. But anyway, no politics today. Please have a good time. There's some hors d'oeuvres and drinks, and just mill around. There are people in different spots who can explain some things to you. Read the signs. If you cannot go up the steps to the loft or to the tower, I will come back and send you up on the lift. I'm the only one allowed to operate it. And it's very safe. It has a whole bunch of redundancies in it that keep it safe. So you don't have to worry about that. But you could also pull yourself up. So Matthew can pull himself up. He just can't climb the stairs. So I have to carry my fat butt up the ladder, you gotta work too. So, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.